Good morning, lovely souls. Happy Friday. It's Tim in the woods. I've just been sat down here, just enjoying the kind of the vibration that's coming in. Of course, we are a weekend and a few days away from the solstice gateway. And of course, we are feeling the preparation, the intensity for it, all of the things that are going on. And it's, in many cases, time, although the energy is push, and that a lot of us are feeling like, hold up, this is moving so quickly, I don't know what to do, where the river is flowing so quickly. It's around this sort of time where it's very prudent to just step back, observe where you're going, where everything around you is heading, and what it is that you're actually creating, what we are creating or co-creating collectively together. And this is what I want to have a little look at this morning, because I've spoken about this particular subject on many occasions. There is absolutely no doubt whatsoever that we are the most incredibly powerful manifestors. So we engage with our reality at the vibration that we are now. We're not the vibration we used to be, we're at the vibration that we are now, which is way higher. We've been through tests, we've been through initiations, we've been through multiple gateways. Whether we have entered this pathway recently, whether it's something that we've been doing for a long time, we are completely different now from the way that we were a month ago, 6 months ago, a year, 2 years. Every single day that we spend on this planet, our frequency rises, we learn new lessons, and our powers of manifestation become more expansive. Okay, so the way that I see and feel that manifestation works is we are here in this. We've managed to cram all of this incredible, intense soul energy into the physical form, who we are. That point of light, the soul personality serving out this incarnation on the planet. And for thousands and thousands of years in the third dimension, the majority of our ability to manifest had been removed so that we could enjoy the offerings of the third dimensional matrix, where energy was very, very dense. Everything was disconnected. We had the opportunity of spending at least 10,000 years in the most egoically set up circumstances so that we could learn about the third dimension. Source wanted to know what happened when you took incredibly powerful souls, billions of them, and put them on a planet, disconnected the cord back to source and the higher self, and shut down the majority of the functional chakras that allow us to have the higher connections that we need, and that is our essentially our food and guidance, and let us get on with our lives, while also offering us the ultimate dish of polarity. We have the choice. We choose light or we choose dark. But knowing also as we go along, or maybe not knowing, that for every action there is a reaction. So karma is created by every thought, word, deed. Everything that we do generates a return service from the universe. So where we are at the moment, we have stepped out of that. That is no longer where we are. That's no longer our vibration. So we are now in a position where collectively, when we focus upon something, the return from the universe is far quicker. We're moving through every minute of our daily lives consciously awake, when we're not sleeping. on this planet, manifesting, creating, generating, projecting out, receiving backwards with what we've created. And we're becoming more and more powerful, and a lot of us are, we are responsible. We're responsible for our manifestations. We know what we're putting out now. Before we perhaps we didn't. So for every thought, for every word, for every action, we understand the laws that govern the spiritual universe and how we create as we go along. So I want to kind of do a little bit of a look at what it is that we are collectively creating at the moment, and a trap or a pitfall that I can see a lot of us getting caught up in, me included. Okay, so the media, the job of the third dimensional media and the job of the third dimensional matrix that we are still engaging with on a daily basis, simply because that is the structure of our reality at the moment. Its job is to distract us, to take our energy, our focus, and it has a specific kind of fuel. Okay, so the third dimensional matrix, it feeds on lower vibrations in order to keep that construction functional, operational. Any of the energies or the things that used to be part of our lives, or are the fabric of the reality of a lot of people, a lot of souls that are still trapped in there, all pertain to the lower vibrations. And so therefore that's its fuel. Okay, and I'm not going to kind of go through a list of what these lower vibrations are. We all know what these things are, but top of the list is anger. Okay, anger or outrage or frustration, and these are particularly at the moment emotions that we are feeling on a regular basis, understandably so, because we're living in this bizarre paradox where we know that we've incarnated to change the entire construction of everything around us. We're taking what works within 3D and we're going to and it's going to work within the fifth dimension, this vibration that we're holding. And the process of alchemy, the process of transformation, is tricky, it's difficult. We know this because on every day that we're being tested upon it. So this again, kind of like going back to the job of the third dimensional matrix, or more precisely the voice or the voices of the third dimensional matrix, mostly are the media and also the triggers that we see around us. And I'm seeing a lot of people at the moment kind of get caught up in anger, in powerlessness, in outrage at the terrible things that we are seeing, and feel like we have no power to intervene with, that we can't get involved with. That is exactly the pitfall or the particular trap that's being set is designed to do. Because when you get one person who's feeling angry, powerless, outraged about something, that becomes a powerful field of manifestation. When you get a group of people, say, sharing something on social media, who are collectively angry and outraged, feeling powerless about something, that then becomes a very strong part. It forms its own conscious field. And these fields are then fed by other people putting in. It's like having a soup. It's like having a soup with a set of basic ingredients, and then everybody else goes, oh, that needs a bit of this, or that needs a bit of that, bit more salt, and eventually you have yourself a huge soup that's being cooked. And this is happening on a daily basis with things that we are seeing going on around us, particularly stuff that might be happening in the sky over our heads, things that is happening maybe in politics, medicine, education, all of these occurrences, because they are so visible, because they are so tangible, because they are part of our everyday lives, or, you know, to a certain point we believe they have the power to affect us, these things are really triggering us as individuals and also us collectively as groups, because we now have the power to share our outrage, to share our anger at the touch of a button. All we need to go do, I mean, I'm recording this on my smartphone. If I wanted to share an emotion of mine, if I wanted to justify the way I was feeling and have that backed up by a group of other souls, I would share that. And before you know it, because that field that has been activated and triggered, lots of people would be adding to it and the field would grow. So what are we manifesting at the moment? What are we creating? And I think this needs to be looked at very carefully, because, and this is I'm going to go back to a little story that Diana Cooper told me back in the kind of the early days when we first met in 2003, 2004, and she was telling me how back in this is a while ago, when her three children were young, she was on an island in the Caribbean, and her husband wasn't there at the time, but if I remember rightly, I believe he was in the army or the military, and so she was on this Caribbean island with 3 children, and there was a tropical storm coming in. And this wasn't just, you know, like, for any of you listening who have been to the Caribbean or live out there even, you know, when these storms come in, they are no joke, okay? All the locals are battening down the hatches, going for the storm cellars, you know, kind of just hoping and praying that the storm would be merciful. So this storm is heading directly to the island. I mean, it is coming. It's coming in thick and fast. So Diana simply just called it, just literally, and she, bearing in mind she wasn't on her spiritual pathway at this time. This is one of the kind of the pivotal events that put her into this field. Prayed to the angels to divert the storm, prayed to anything or anyone who would be listening to make sure that the storm didn't hit the island, or if it did, that she and her children would be safe. A natural instinct for a mother to want to protect her children, and also, you know, in this foreign country with this incredibly powerful natural event coming towards her. And as the story goes, the storm literally came to the shores of this Caribbean island and then miraculously diverted off, and the whole place was untouched. Now, that was one of the events that served, I believe, to wake Diana up, and she believes to this day and knows within her heart that without that prayer, without that invocation, without that, the power of no, you are not going to batter this island, you are not going to put us in danger, the storm would have indeed raged through as its trajectory was intending to do. So that, I believe, is a good indication of the power of our manifestation, and also the power and the intensity of calling out for assistance directly from the heart. And this was decades ago. So here we are in a very different vibration, a very, very different time now, with a very different set of power, a different set of powers of manifestation, or a kind of templates for new spiritual laws that we are kind of adhering to and are actually serving us on a daily basis. Yet we are allowing ourselves to become increasingly outraged and provoked and made to feel increasingly more powerless by the goings on around us, simply because they might look big. If you're sat on an island and a storm is coming towards you, that storm looks big. If you're sat here watching the sky and there's stuff going on ahead over you, what can you do? You're sat on the ground. If you're an individual watching an army come towards you, what can that one person do? I can remember reading, and I've mentioned this before as well, the words of Archangel Jophiel in the book, the seven beloved archangels speak. When one person, one soul, holds the power of the mighty I Am presence, that is enough to change the course or the trajectory of the outcome of that planet. And again, as I've done previously, there are now millions of us holding, if not actualizing, the mighty I Am presence within us. We are no longer in small groups or clusters or minorities. We are huge, powerful working groups. And it is, I believe, time to cease the distractions and start positively working towards the outcome and the goals that we want to achieve. Those outcomes and those goals will not be achieved by us being angry, by being outraged, by, oh, what can we do? You know, like that feeling of frustration, what can I do? The creation of our fifth dimensional world is going to be a cohesive joint project, and that's what it is. Okay, so we are all collectively adding to this beautiful future of ours, one that's filled with peace, unity, love, balance, harmony. But we can only do that if we have that balance and harmony within our hearts. We are tested continuously to make sure that we are within balance, within center. That's why we are tested again and again and again until we find that point, that balance point. A bit like my friend Paul de Carey balancing the rocks. And anyone who's stone balanced will realise that there is a point at which everything sits and it has a centre line running down through it. And that's very much what we are achieving or attempting to achieve under the most difficult circumstances. So again, this comes down to personal and individual responsibility for what we focus upon, what we share, what we become angry about. And I'm not saying here that there's a big difference between burying your head in the sand and ignoring everything to actually witnessing something and taking action in a positive way. So there are solutions, both spiritually and physically, for every single thing that's going on. Everything that we are being provoked by, that we are being outraged by, that is potentially making us or attempting to make us feel powerless. There is a solution for everything, absolutely everything, and it begins with us. So that feeling of overwhelm, that feeling of individual powerlessness, that is countered by looking first of all at the situation from a higher perspective, then also having trust in ourselves and the universe to be able to collectively manifest a different outcome for what we're seeing. Because at the moment we are fuel. Okay, when we're angry, when we're outraged, when we're just, why am I doing this? Because what is the point? This problem is so unsurmountable, it's so big, what can I possibly do? That is fuel for the matrix. That energy, those lower vibrations are what have kept that matrix so wholesomely fed for so many thousands and thousands of years. So to truly break free, to be a citizen or an individual or a human in whatever form we're going to be in the future of the fifth dimension, we need to be absolutely rooted and anchored within our hearts. Okay? There will always be points where we are knocked out of our heart center. That's life. Okay? So this isn't a kind of like a lecture on being perfect, but it is a talk on responsibility for the power and the point of focus that we have. Because the more anger and the more outrage that we generate together as a group, the more conflict that we have within our hearts, the longer this entire scene that we see going on around us will continue. It begins with us, the individual, that focus point of the mighty I Am presence. I think one of the biggest tests for all of us on the spiritual pathway, on the ascension pathway, the stepping up point, is to remember how powerful we are, what we truly are. Because on a standard day in the Matrix, you can be made to feel like that, and that's how we felt for a very long time. And to remember our power, that comes from within. That's what we're building up now. But when we use that collectively without ego, no competition between us, no kind of measurements as to who's got this and who's got that, and you know, like why that might be better than what we have to offer. It all begins with us, and just bringing to the table the absolute best of what we have to offer at any given time. Okay. So on that note, I'd like to just say, hope you all have the most beautiful weekend. Okay, it's the weekend. The solstice is on Tuesday. David, Esther and I are going to be running our beautiful event together on the 21st, solstice evening, starting at 7 p.m. And we're very, very excited at the moment, David and I, because we're launching the Ascension Toolkit. We're going to be recording a video for everybody tomorrow, and it's going to be informative. It's going to be telling you what we're doing with the toolkit, how you can sign up for it, what the content actually is. And so yeah, it's going to be a fun week. Sending you all so much love you lots, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.